It's a new product overview video for the new Lionel Legacy SD40-2 and SD40-2 locomotives. These locomotives each feature 2 road numbers in the powered variants and 1 road number in the non-powered variant. They're available in the following road numbers for the tunnel motors, which have this longer hood as we see here. That is Southern Pacific, as we see on the video, and also Union Pacific. In the SD40-2 variations, where it does not have this longer hood but rather has a longer walkway between the end of the cab and the end railing, we have Chessie System, Baltimore and Ohio, Conrail, and Norfolk Southern. Out of the package you will receive the Legacy Memory Module Instruction Manual, the instruction manual for the locomotive, smoke fluid funnel and pipette, 4 replacement traction tires, and the locomotive engine memory module, which is specific to the road name and road number of the locomotive. Both the SD40-2 and SD40-T-2 tunnel motors feature a die-cast pilot, truck, side frames, fuel tank, a stamped metal frame, a plastic shell, dual vertical can motors, fan-driven smoke unit, directional LED lighting, Legacy rail sounds, and Legacy speed control. These engines also have front and rear electrocouplers. The switches for both the SD40-2 and SD40-T-2 are accessible underneath the rear radiator hatch. To remove this hatch, just simply pull straight up. Inside the compartment, you will find the following 3 switches. We have the smoke on-off switch, which, when placed in the SMK position, will allow you to control the smoke unit from either the Legacy or TMCC remote. For conventional operators, this will leave the smoke unit on when the train is in operation. The no SMK position will turn the smoke unit off permanently and will not allow you to control it from either the Legacy or TMCC remotes, and for conventional operators will keep the smoke unit off during operations. The next switch in line is the Odyssey on-off switch. In the ODY position, Odyssey 2 speed control is enabled, and in the no ODY position, Odyssey speed control will be disabled. Odyssey speed control is used to maintain a constant speed regardless of track conditions or load. We strongly recommend that you leave the Odyssey switch in the ODY position for optimal performance. The last switch that we have is the program run switch. This is used by placing the switch in the program position to assign the locomotive ID number. Once you have assigned the ID number, you can place the switch back in the run position, and the engine will keep that ID number until you change it again in the future. For conventional operators, the program position is used as the E-unit lockout switch to keep the locomotive running in one direction at all times. The run position will allow you to access all 3 directional states. We also have the volume potentiometer, which is the master volume control for the sound system. Turning it down will lower the overall volume of the complete sound system. Turning it up will raise the volume. If you're operating with TMCC and or Legacy, you will be able to control both the prime mover sounds and the entire sound set using the handheld remote. Finally, we have the socket for the 9-volt battery. If you're operating in Legacy or TMCC, installing a battery is not necessary. If you're operating conventionally, you want to make sure you install a 9-volt battery to keep the sounds alive during directional state changes. Now, before we get the locomotive on the track and put it through its paces, we want to make sure we perform some preventive maintenance steps. This would include using an oil bottle with a needle applicator and applying a small drop of oil on the axle where the axle goes through the bearing block on the truck. Just a small drop of oil is all that's needed on all 3 axles on each truck, and you want to perform this on each side of the truck. Once you've done that, you can work that in with your thumb by rotating the wheel set around. It's also a good idea to put a drop of oil on the axle for each collector. This will prevent these collectors from making any unwanted squeals or noises while the engine is in operation. Do this for all 4 collectors on the locomotive, and we're ready to get the engine on the track and see how it performs. Now, before we place our legacy SD40-2 on the track, we first need to tell our legacy remote about that locomotive. Since the cab number is 8322, using our numbering convention of the last 2 digits of the road number, we're going to call this locomotive Engine 22. So on our legacy remote, we press Engine 22. At this point, we can locate the orange memory module that came with the locomotive. Place the orange module in the top of the remote with the silver circle L facing up. To access the engine menu, we press the info key in the upper right hand corner. The load icon appears, and we want to press the button below load. It tells us the module is inserted. It's a Southern Pacific, product number 38921, SD40-2, number 8322, and it asks us if we'd like to load the engine data. Press the button below yes, and it tells us the memory module is loaded. We must remove the module to continue. So remove the module. It goes back to our engine menu screen, and we'll take just a moment to show you what this has done. To get to the next tab, we press the scroll button. It has set our type to diesel. Pressing scroll again, we see it set our control to legacy mode. Pressing scroll again, we see it has set our sound to legacy rail sounds. To exit this menu, simply press the info key in the upper right hand corner. I'd like to take a moment and show you what this has done for us on our icons. The memory module loaded the following icons for us. We have volume up, crew talk, manual RPMs up, volume down. The black circle is shut down. If we turn the throttle, that icon changes to a black triangle. If you press that icon when the engine is underway, it will play the emergency stop dialog. Stopping the locomotive will bring the circle back. Pressing that icon when the locomotive is stopped will activate the shutdown sequence. We have manual RPMs down, tower comm, smoke off, smoke on. These 2 icons are actually not appropriate for this SD40. They are ditch lights on and off, but the SD40 tunnel motor is not equipped with ditch lights. The circle R is engine reset, and we have Rule 17 lighting enabled and Rule 17 lighting off. If we press the speed bar, the icons on the touchpad change. We have our 6 preset railroad speeds, tower comm, smoke off, smoke on. This bar graph is directly representative of the amount of labor that the sounds will make pulling a load. To increase that bar graph, simply press the FX up button. Across the top of our screen it says labor increase, and to lower that bar graph you simply press the FX down button. Across the top of our screen it says labor decrease. Finally, we have the number 1 in a circle. That is for roll speed. Roll speed is the very first speed step the locomotive will achieve and maintain regardless of track conditions or load. To get back to the original touchpad icons, we simply press the aux1 key and the icons reappear. Now, before we put our SD40-2 through its paces, there's 2 things that we need to do first. The first is we need to prime the smoke unit, and secondly we need to assign the engine ID number. So to prime the smoke unit, we locate that funnel that came with the locomotive and place it through that exhaust stack and get it as far down inside the funnel as possible. Then using the 6-37-841 Lionel Premium Smoke Fluid, we want to fill our pipette about 3/4 of the way from the tip to the first line and add that smoke fluid into the smoke unit. Couple puffs of air, not a bad idea. Make sure that we break up any possible meniscus. We can remove the funnel. Now we need to remove the radiator hatch on the back and place the program run switch in the program position. Now we've already told our legacy remote what engine 22 is by loading the memory module. Now what we need to do is assign the ID number to the locomotive. To do this, we press engine 22 on our legacy remote and we press set. The horn confirms that the locomotive took the address, and we can now place the program run switch back in the run position and replace the radiator hatch. Now, let me cycle power. When we first power up the locomotive, the only thing that should come on are the number board lamps. No headlight, no cab light. This is normal operation. Now, after I address the locomotive, the cab light, the headlights, and the sounds and the smoke will all come on. So I'm going to press engine 22 on my legacy remote and press and hold the power icon in the lower left-hand corner of the touchpad. And I'll get this dialog upon startup.
This is the dispatcher. Do you copy? Roger that, dispatcher. I read you. Over. Very good. Start up and hold. Yes, sir. Start up and stand by. Out.
Now that the locomotive is started up, the headlight is on, the cab light is on, number board lights are still illuminated. Also, the marker lights on the rear of the locomotive are illuminated. Now go ahead and turn the smoke unit on. And I've set it to the highest setting, smoke high. The locomotive will begin to produce smoke. Now the amount of smoke that the locomotive produces at idle is substantially less than it will produce when it begins moving. Go ahead and blow the horn so you can hear the quillable horn on this SD40. The bell. Crew talk.
Air test complete, dispatcher. Am I clear to move? Over. Negative. Please hold. Over. Will do, dispatcher. Out.
Tower comm.
Dispatcher here. You're clear to pull. Over. That's great. Thank you, sir. Green orbs out.
Now, when the locomotive begins moving, the amount of smoke coming out of that stack will increase. And this is normal operation. These locomotives are equipped with a front and rear electrocoupler, which means you can uncouple the train anywhere on the layout using the Legacy or the TMCC1 remote, like so. And the rear coupler. As you increase the throttle, the RPMs will increase as well. And the faster the locomotive goes, the more smoke that will be produced. I'm going to go ahead and slow the train down and stop it using the brake button. This locomotive is also equipped with what's known as sequence control. And sequence control is a series of dialogues that are based solely on throttle responses. So to enter sequence control, you simply press and hold the aux1 or the straight arrow key for 3 seconds, and the locomotive will confirm entering sequence control after it gives you 2 bells and a short horn blast, and it sounds like this. We've now entered sequence control. What this means is that the very first speed step, the locomotive will not begin moving. The engine won't begin moving until we get to speed step 2. The bell will turn on automatically and stay on until the locomotive...
I see that signal. We're good to go. Over.
Until the locomotive crests a certain speed. Any sudden changes to the throttle will garner a response from the locomotive in its dialogue. Could be horn, could be bell, could be crew talk dialogue, tower comm dialogue, etc. So we're going to go ahead and go to speed step 1. Train doesn't begin moving. Now I'm going to go to speed step 2. At speed step 2, the engine begins moving.
Dispatcher, train is moving. Over. Roger that. Keep rolling.
Crew talk plays automatically. The bell comes on automatically. Now I still have all the manual controls on this engine, so if I wish to blow the horn or ring the bell, I can do that, or turn the bell off. But these sounds are automatic, based solely on throttle. Now once I crest speed step 23, the bell turns off, and will stay off until I get back to speed step 23 and stay on until I slow down and stop. Again, you can turn this off if you choose. Now I'm going to make a sudden adjustment to the throttle so that you can hear one of the dialogues that plays. Just the horn. I've increased the throttle quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and turn the throttle down quite a bit as well, so you can hear the dialogue that plays there.
I'm at slow speed. Out.
Now as this locomotive runs around your layout, it will randomly give you a grade crossing sequence, some crew talk and tower comm announcements. And the sequence control is great for guys who want to just let the trains run on the layout while they're focused on a yard area or running other trains. It gives your locomotive a chance to sing a little bit for you while you're operating other things. Now as I slow the train down and get below speed step 23, my bell will turn on automatically, and it will stay on until I bring the locomotive to a stop, at which point I'll get this dialogue.
Dispatcher, we've come to full stop. I'll call when we're moving again. Out.
To exit sequence control, you simply press aux1 or the straight arrow key in the engine reset icon. Short horn blast confirms that you've left sequence control. The other thing that you can do with this locomotive is you can add fuel to the fuel tank. And you can do that by holding the reset key on the touchpad. And this is the dialogue and sounds you'll get. Now the fuel filling sound will continue as long as you hold the reset key, and when you release it, this will play.
Fuel still. Over. Copy that. Out.
Now that the locomotive is sitting at idle, we've refueled the fuel tank. I'm going to go ahead and hit the black circle in the center of the touchpad to play the shutdown sequence.
Dispatcher, we're done for the day. Signing off. Out.
Now when you play the shutdown sequence, you'll notice that the number board lamps are still illuminated. Headlights and cab light, smoke unit, and sounds are all off. And this is normal operation. All of those features will come back when you readjust the engine and power it up again.